Okay, so today is all about putting Stella in the spotlight. She looks absolutely fabulous today with this beautiful hair and her necklace and her clothes. Oh my gosh, the
You
pink is
got
like
that other part?
painting. All right, Stella, I want to take it back with you, and I want to learn. I mean, we've talked so much. I've learned so much about you, but a lot of the people here listening in don't necessarily know your story, your journey, and let's hear from you. Why did you want to write a book and why are you writing about conscious parenting?
All right. So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, Before I even got to thought about writing about conscious parenting, I think I'll start with how becoming a mother actually did it for me. When I became a mother, I realized that it was the little things that started happening made me realize that I couldn't parent my children the way I was parented. Um, So
Mhm.
I started my journey of conscious parenting because of some things that had happened in the past. I'll give an example of when my first daughter at 4, she started lying. She picked up lying, for silly things. So
Lying.
maybe she scribbles on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
who did this? Oh, it wasn't me. Or she goes into the
I
bathroom
did that
and,
too.
messes up.
Yeah.
And then, it wasn't me. And, I
Hmm.
started getting worried. And I realized that I was okay. So when that started happening, I would say things like, "We don't lie in this house. Where did you pick that up from? We don't do this. We don't do that." And
Yeah.
then it started getting worse. In fact, I realized that she started. I was losing connection. I realized that she was getting kind of afraid of me, and that started getting me worried because it was something that I
Yeah.
saw myself with my mom growing up, and I told myself, no, I wouldn't. I wanted my children to
Um,
have that kind of connection with me. Yes, I didn't have the kind of connection where I could sit to my mom and have, conversations and all of that.
yeah.
We only even became a bit close when I got married, of course, because of the women talk and all of that. But I realized, oh no, I didn't want this to happen with her. So I started seeking knowledge, and from seeking knowledge, I started understanding what conscious parenting and intentional parenting meant. And that was
Right.
when I realized that I was parenting from a place of fear. So she was scared because I
Yeah.
was projecting perfection. And also you also need to understand the kind of children you have, because my first daughter is someone who she she doesn't want to be in the negative. She wants or she doesn't want to be projected as the one who did the wrong thing. So that
Yep.
fear of,
Right.
oh, mommy
Kids
said I
from
shouldn't do this and then I did this,
right.
will now make her lie. It didn't also occur to me that lying for children is actually a developmental milestone. I mean,
Oh, really?
when she was much younger, yes, when she was maybe when she was 2, 3, she could
Yeah.
actually do things without thinking. Mom is said I shouldn't do this, but I did it,
Yeah.
right? But
Because
now
you're
she's
afraid.
4 and
Yeah, you're afraid of
she's
parents.
thinking, oh, okay. She's
Yeah.
now more aware of the fact that if I do this, mom is going to be upset, and
Right.
then what
You're
can I
afraid.
do to not make her upset? So then I lie,
Why?
thinking if I lie and it's not me, then I'm still in her good books. So it's actually a developmental milestone, right? Which if you're not aware, you're not aware, and then you project from a place of fear. So I started to understand this, and then I had to sit down to say, look, I'm not perfect. So instead of shouting, why did you do, it's like, you know what?
Right.
Why did you do this? Okay, you're not supposed to do this. This is what you're supposed to do instead. And even when you do things wrong, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. Your daddy makes mistakes. Your teachers make mistakes, right? It's only God who doesn't make mistakes. So you know what? Oh, feel free to own up, when something goes wrong. It's not the end of the world. In fact, it is when you don't own up that's where I become upset, right? So, oh, I did this. Oh, it was a
Right.
mistake, mommy. I mean, things like that. So that's where my conscious parenting journey started, actually from all of those lies. And I started rebuilding connection back. Right.
Yeah.
So as I started learning about conscious parenting, intentional parenting, I began to realize that it was so much more about me. It wasn't about the children I was parenting. It was about me. It was about, okay, look at the incidents of the life, for instance. It was about how I spoke with Suha. it was about understanding that, look, this is just a 4 year old. What you need to do
Right.
is teach her. What you need to do is explain to her. What you need to do, first of all, is even understand where's the lie coming from, right? And then you build
Right.
from there. So the
Yep.
more I learned, the more I realized that it was about me. It was about my own choices. It was about what I was modeling. It was about how I was seeking connection. It was about how I was growing as a person, because I cannot grow. I cannot expect my children to grow if I wasn't growing. So all of that made me understand, oh, okay, you know what? Parenting actually had to do about was about me. So I started the journey, and then going along, I kept having this nagging feeling of I was meant for more. Now, I was meant for more, but I couldn't quite place what the more was.
Right.
I, you know, by society standards, I was successful. I finished top of my class. I had a thriving career by all standards. I had two beautiful children, but I just
Right.
kept on feeling I was meant for more. But I didn't quite know how to place more. And then fast forward last year,
Mhm.
February, March, my dad passed, and I had to go home to see him because my siblings and him stay in the same city, but I stay in a different city. So when I
Yeah.
went to, got to the house and got into his room, and I mean, I've always known my dad was a man of impact. He wrote. He was always writing. He loved to read. He had a lot going on for him in his community. Like, he was someone who really touched lives. But you never really understand it until it's staring you in the face like that. So I was going through his things, his books, his journals, his, things he'd done for people and for his community. And right there, and it just dawned on me, like, this was a man who made so much impact without technology. He didn't have any
Yeah.
social media presence.
Right.
He didn't have any,
Right.
so what was stopping me? And it was right there, and then it dawned on me that this was really that more you've been wanting, you've been trying to understand what it was about. This is actually the more. You have so much in you to share to the world, and you need to start. And it was right there, and then I made up my mind to start my writing. Of course, I didn't have any social media presence before then. I was someone
Right.
who was always behind the scenes. I was someone who was always, I don't want my business out there in the world, just me, my family, and I. But I told myself, look, you cannot, especially when you are saying that you can't parent the way you were parented. There's so much that you can offer these children. There's so much you can model to them, even just by even putting yourself out there, just by sharing your story, just by building your legacy as you live every day with your daily action. There's so much that your children are even learning from you. So you don't have a choice. You just have to do it. So I made up my mind right there and then that, this was actually the more that I was meant for.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
June 2024, I started writing on Substack. And that was my first foray into anything
Right.
at all that I have to putting myself out there or writing and all of that. So
Right.
yeah, that was how
Awesome.
I birthed becoming together on Substack.
Awesome. So I remember when we connected last year, you had actually written a book on parenting and you had actually published it on Amazon. Can you walk us through like what that was like? Because I remember you had already published this and you were kind of looking for you were kind of looking for something, but why did you then join Viral Author Academy? Or like what were you looking for even after you wrote that book?
Right. So of course when I joined Substack, I knew I had at the minimum maybe 3 books in me. So that was the first one, even though I knew it was more like a launch, more like, just testing the waters.
Right. You're
And
kind
when
of
I
like,
joined,
let's see what this
yeah,
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's see how it goes. When I joined
Right.
Substack, of course, because I knew my journey was going to involve writing a book at some point, I
Okay.
immediately connected with you. So I started following you.
Okay.
And I think we had our first call sometime in July, thereabouts,
Yeah.
if I can remember
Just
correctly.
published. Yeah.
Yes, yes, sometime in July or early August, if I'm not mistaken. And that was because I started following you. I knew you were someone who I mean, I was just interested in, what you were all about. And we had our first call, like, you said some things to me. I'm like, and then I didn't even fully understand. But okay, that's fine. I have
Yeah.
this book right there, though.
Yeah.
However, uh, however, when I had the call with you, I knew that I was definitely going to sign up to something. I don't think VAA was out at the time, but
Yeah.
I think you were doing one-on-one calls at the time. And I
Yeah.
just knew that I was going to keep the communication line open. Fast forward to, you had the master class, I think early this year,
Yeah.
I think February. So,
Yeah.
yes. And that master class
Mhm.
was so rich. I mean, I think it was a 3-day master class and it was free.
Mhm.
It was amazing. It was on that
Really?
call I
Okay.
realized, yes, I realized a
Okay.
lot of things. I realized the fact that, even before you write the book, you have to do your marketing research. You have to know who you're writing for, why you're
Right.
writing, who your audience is. You told us about how to turn your story into how to make it transformational. There's so much information out there.
Right.
Everybody could Google something, but then how do you make your own transformational? We all have unique stories and unique pathways in us. How do we make that? How do we bring out that story in us in such a way that it connects with our readers, it connects with our
Yeah.
audience? So at that master class, it was a 3-day master class, and every day at the end of that master class, you
Yeah.
gave
Yeah.
us a assignment, right? Something to
Yeah.
take home. Right. And
Right.
I mean, it actually, that was the first time that I actually even understood why I was on Substack. Why was I writing what I was writing? That was the first time I really sat down to think about, okay, my dad's passing, my children's, my daughter's issues, what led me to conscious parenting, how
Wow.
I tied everything up together and led
Wow.
me to where I was. And it was because of the assignments I had, the tasks I had given us to do.
Okay.
So,
I had
and
no
then I
idea.
knew that, yeah,
That's
right there. And then
awesome.
I
Okay.
even wrote a note that after one of the classes that day, yes, and I tagged you,
Okay.
and I'm like, what?
That's
This
right.
was a
Yeah.
very, yes, this was a very transformational class for me. So after that master class, I knew that I was going to join VA, whenever doors opened, and
Oh,
doors finally opened. I think that was March or so, April.
yeah. March or something. Yeah.
Right,
March.
okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yeah, and
Okay.
I mean, I came in into VA. Yeah. So I've been
Okay.
following you all from the beginning, and when it was
Yeah.
time to, because when June to December 2024,
Yeah.
it was all
Mhm.
about. Remember that I was new into the writing world. I just knew
Yeah.
that I had the book or books in me, and I
Right.
knew that I had laid the foundation in terms of, okay, understanding what the platform was about, understanding my
Right.
voice, understanding how to put myself
Right.
out there. But then, of course, I knew that at some point I was going to need someone who would guide me, the expert who would walk me through,
Yeah.
putting all of these things together and then taking it from there. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Because the first thing you had published, your first book, was like it was good. It was great. It was like you were putting your personal philosophy of what you had learned about parenting, and that's why I on Pinterest I follow a lot of conscious parenting people, and so that's why I love like talking to you because you're like experiencing in real. I don't have kids, so I like talking to you because you are experiencing it in real time, where you're like, I'm trying to do my best with these kids, but I'm not actually, something is not working here. So I love talking to you. So you developed some, I mean, you're working on like a method, like a personal framework on how you teach other people how to conscious parent or have the best parenting experience with their kids so they have a good relationship with you. And I was enjoying learning about that. So walk us through this conscious parenting model that you created from your own experience.
all right. So before I do that, I just wanted to say that, so the book I am currently rewriting in VAA is
Yeah.
actually the book I had published earlier. And of course, like I said,
Yeah.
I was just testing the waters. I definitely knew that I was going to come back, especially because after the masterclass early this year, your masterclass, where
Yeah.
you made us realize that, all about the difference between information and transformation. So the first book was more about information. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. There was
Right.
it was more about, this is how. So the book is about how I can build fun and creative ways to build a bubbling, thriving, creative family. right?
Yeah.
Whether children are in school, during school days, during school weekends, or during the long holidays. For instance, we're in summer now, and a lot of
Right.
parents don't know what to do with their children during summer, right? And there's so much you can
Right.
do. And this has nothing to do with whether I work 9 to 5, I have my
Right.
Substack, I have my children full
I can't
time.
believe you're
I
doing all of this. It's crazy. It's amazing. You're
right?
doing
And
incredible.
I
Oh my
don't
gosh.
have time to connect with them. So it's all about the mindset. It's all about, this have been able to understand, all of this. So that's what the book was about. But now I'm rewriting it in a way, in the VAA way, right? In Rennie's way, where I'm sharing my story. I'm making it
Yeah.
transformational. I'm letting people see, connect with me, connect with my story in such a way that they feel what I feel. They understand that, oh, this is not
Right.
just happening, this is just unique to them, this is something
Right.
that is normal, right? So yeah, so
Yeah.
going into the model or the framework, right?
Yeah.
It's all about play, connect, and thrive, right? And the first pillar is about growth.
Right.
So it's all what I would usually say is that personal growth is the bedrock of intentional parenting. I mean, you cannot, you have to intentionally be willing to grow for yourself. You have to intentionally be willing to make those daily choices to become a better human. You cannot
Yeah.
steward another human if you're not a better person yourself. How are you growing? How do you model curiosity when you yourself are not curious? How do you model courage when you are not? How do you treat the neighbors around you, the workers in the estate, for instance,
Right.
when you how do you expect to teach your children that when they're not seeing that in you? How many books do you read? You tell your children to go read. How many have you read?
Mm-hmm.
So things like that. So the first one is all about growth. And the mindset around it is that you have to intentionally be willing to be a better person every single day of your life if you want to raise children who will thrive. It's as simple as that. And it's in your
Okay.
daily actions, your
Wow.
daily consistent actions every
Mm-hmm.
single day.
Okay.
The second one is about building connection.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Play,
and the
connect,
mindset
thrive.
around and the mindset about connection is that it's not about the quantity of time. It's about the quality
Okay.
of time. I was just talking about, how I work 9 to 5, how I have my
Yeah.
my children, how I'm writing my book, how
If you're
I'm
one of those
nurturing, building a
consistent
community.
students inside the academy, you're like there at almost every call. You're there like consistently showing up. It's amazing. You're like on it. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you have the mindset of, first of all, it's quality
Yeah.
and not quantity. So 20 minutes of connection beats 2 hours of distracted time. And when I
Good.
mean connection, I mean connection without phones, without, you are connecting, either you are making breakfast together, you are reading a book
Yeah.
together, you are watching a movie, you're just discussing, how was school today, what happened in school, having open-ended questions together. That beats 2 hours of everybody on their device. Right.
Right. Yes. And then
And
the
again,
third one,
it is,
thrive. Oh, good.
yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
still on connection,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
another thing that would help is when you build rituals. Children thrive in
Cool.
predictability, in structure,
Okay.
in routines, yes. And even for you as that parent, you're not going to have you're not going to have 2 hours every day of the week, or every week. You're not going. Life is going to happen. A lot of things are going to happen. But when
Yeah.
you build in routines, when you have routines that the children can even also look forward to. For instance, we know when it's movie night, for instance, right? We know, it's moving out today. We know when we know we're having bedtime stories, even though it's supposed to be every day. But at least if I'm not able to make every day, if I've done 4 times out of 6, 7 times in a week, then of course it's a perfect. I mean, it's is an A star, right? So because if you don't intentionally build in those rituals, you're
Yeah.
not going to be able to, at the end of the day, have the effect, that cumulative effect you are looking for. You're not going to have it. So you need
Yeah.
to be able to have routines in place. What routines exist in
Traditions.
your home, right? As simple as just taking a walk, taking a stroll every
We go
weekend or every other day.
yeah. And we go
Exactly.
on a
Play
walk
sports
outside
together.
every day for
Exactly. These
uh-huh.
things are just things that
That's
happen
even
5, sometimes just 10, 15 minutes and it's done. And it's enough for that day. Trust me, the cumulative effect over time beats any 2 hours, 3 hours of
mm,
distracted time that you think that you're actually building. And then it also helps you eliminate that thought of, oh, I don't have time. I'm so busy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Honestly, if you can intentionally create routines, 10, 15,
right.
20 minutes every day, every other day, you are building something wonderful. Yeah. And then, of course, the third one is
Thrive.
thriving, yes, which is all about building resilience. You need to be able to intentionally, there are certain things, there are certain life skills you need to build, nurture, develop into your children.
Mhm.
Curiosity, leadership, empathy,
Right.
executive functioning,
That start in the home,
name.
not necessarily at school. It's they
No, no,
rely
no,
on
no,
the
no. This is
parents.
all about learning outside the school. In fact,
Yep,
we
exactly.
cannot even trust and rely on traditional learning pathways
Right.
to build children of this, in this era. We cannot rely on traditional learning pathways, not at all.
Right.
I mean, look at the world of AI. I always tell my children, look, I mean, how do you model? There are life skills that you must build. It's not about everybody can know the
Yeah.
coding, the numeracy, literacy, and all of that. But building life skills, how do you stay
Mhm.
resilient? How do you model courage? Earlier
Wow.
this year, for instance, and these are things that you build in everyday moments. It's not,
Yeah.
I don't have to sit down and have a lecture to say, oh,
Right.
today we are learning. No. So for instance,
Right.
earlier this year, my daughter was the first one was so they have this prefectship elections in school
Okay.
for children in grades 4 and 5. Yes. So
Okay.
she was in grade 4. She's moving to grade 5 at the start of the new school year. So grade 4 can run for deputy prefects, so library prefects, I
Oh,
think
that's so
assembly
cute.
prefect, timekeeper.
So
Yes,
adorable. Oh my
yes.
goodness.
And
Yeah.
then grade 5 will now go for the so that deputy will be in year 4, but the main library prefect will be from grade 5. So she was going for deputy library prefect, and then there was
Okay.
um one of the activities was to have a manifesto
Oh,
and speak about
that's
why.
amazing.
Yes. Why they
Wow.
wanted to be, that position. They was going to
Right.
speak to the whole
A
school.
speech.
Yes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yes. Just a short speech. So that
Okay.
morning, we had prepped her. She had come up with her points. We had discussed. But that morning I realized that she was a bit nervous. And she was telling me
Mhm.
that she didn't want to. Of course, I knew she didn't want to because she's very shy. She doesn't like crowd. So I knew that that's why she was nervous. I'm like, you're nervous, right? Don't worry, it's nothing. You just go there and say. Nobody knows that you're nervous, right? So you're not going to nervousness doesn't. You can be nervous, but you don't. Nobody needs to know that you're nervous, right? Just go ahead and say the things that you need to say. Now she was supposed. I think no, it was. We had that conversation. I think the day before. The next
Mhm.
day was supposed to be the speech day. Now that day, I had remember there was a time that me and you were on a call on one of our podcasts when I had to rush for a
Yeah,
presentation.
that's right.
Right. Now that presentation, we've been on it for I think over a year. We've been
Oh my gosh.
having a lot of yes. So
Mhm.
it was still on that same presentation that this story I'm telling you happened earlier this year, but it was still the same client, right? So I just got a
Okay.
call that I had to present to the Accountant General of the Federation someone who is as high as that. We hadn't opened that platform
It's
in
incredible.
weeks. I had to do a demo. Yes.
Yeah,
So
you have
right
to
there and
you
then
got
I
off
had
the call and you create a whole presentation at that moment.
yes,
Oh my god.
yes.
Oh
Already
my god.
I had a base presentation, but I needed to be sure
Yeah.
that the product, the platform was working and all of that because we hadn't worked on it for a while. So of course I was nervous, I was jittery, I was, oh my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that I wasn't going to do it. So, but I went ahead, I did it, and of course, while driving to the client side, I was, oh God, please let everything work well and all of that. I went ahead and I did it. So when my daughter came
Yeah.
back from school, I told her that story. I said, look at what happened to me today. I was very nervous. This is me who does presentations. It's part of my, it's part of what I do in my nine to
Right.
five. But
Right.
that day I was nervous. Why? Because I was speaking to a high profile client
Yeah.
and the call was impromptu out of the blues. But I was really nervous. And but I didn't get there and I didn't show I was nervous. Even though I was nervous inside of me, I was still
Yeah.
able to deliver, right? So I
Leverage
told
up
her,
there.
this is
Yeah.
exactly what you're going to do tomorrow.
Right.
So you can see how you will tie everyday events and make them
Right.
teachable moments.
You're
That's
demonstrating how this is the lesson that they need to learn.
exactly. This is how we build teachable moments and build resilience in our children. So that's all about thriving. Intentionally recognizing times that you need to teach, times that you need to model. You don't even have to say anything. So many times I'm doing certain things. I don't need to say anything. I know that they are watching. I know that they're picking it up. I know that they are learning, right? Because
Mhm.
it's become a culture in the house. We're
I love that
intentionally curating
culture.
that culture. Yes. Why? Because you may not be able to influence every single place your child will go to, or maybe even choose their friends for them, or even make choices for them. But what you can do is curate the environment in which they grow. When you create the environment in which they grow, you are intentionally programming things into them, which they will take on to wherever it is that they go to, and they will make the right choices because they have ingrained that culture that you have programmed intentionally for them.
Yes, I love that. So, okay, so your method is play, connect, thrive. And so you are
Yeah.
now using this method in the rewrite of your book, right? As you rewrite it and are crafting it. And even your Substack as well, like your content is now based around this method. Um so walk us through like what it's been like to kind of rewrite your book, because like you said that your book was, I mean, and I'm sure you put a lot of work into it, but it sounds like now this book is more about transformation for the reader. Walk us through what it's now like to rewrite a book so that it transforms the reader or in the way that you see it.
Okay, so I think the first thing is the mindset. Having that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I joined VAA, it was all about that mindset to say, oh, you know what, you are how are you moving from an informational perspective to a transformational one,
Mm-hmm.
right? Having the understanding that, oh, I'm not just offering information, I'm offering transformation. How can I turn my pain into purpose in a structured way?
Yeah.
How can I, build because we all coming from one pain or the other. Mine was, I was restless. I knew that I was meant for more. One. Two is that I saw that my daughter was not connecting in the way that I wanted to, and in the way that I had vowed that I would not allow in my own home. So those were my pain. So how can I build that pain, you know, pick up that pain and move it into purpose, and but do it in a structured way. The third one is, how can the book is just one part of the piece. How do
Right.
I use my book as, and put it into an ecosystem of you know, maybe webinars, products, services, coaching
Mm-hmm.
programs, book tours, speaking engagements, all of that, but all starting from one book. So there's a whole lot that you could do with a book, right? And that's really, I think those were the starting points for me, joining VA, to understand that, look, there is so much that you could do with your
Right.
message packaged in the book. And the book is just a tool. There's so much that you could do with it, building into, and first of all, setting out your information in a way that transforms.
Yeah,
Second,
yeah.
turning your pain into purpose, and then building that book, using that book and turning it, making it a piece of your entire ecosystem, yes, including your Substack, your newsletters, and every single thing that you do as you pass your message across here. So that for me has really been that has really been it for me here.
Yeah, I mean, you are one of the most, and I just love the way that you show up at every call that you can. You are in the group, you're in the community, you're adding value to the community as much as you can. I'm blown away by, it's not even about like how you don't need to like show up like 3 months later and be like, I finished my book. It's just like you're there as much as you can and you're answering questions, you're asking questions. I mean, you give presentations every single, almost all the time in your job, but you still are there at our podcast practices, showing up and you're practicing. We have like impromptu speaking practice that you and I are doing. And you're always just open to being coachable. And that's just what I love about your energy, Stella, and like how grateful that you have this bright, shiny energy in the group, which is amazing. Um, thank you so much for just first of all just being a bright, shiny light. What would you say to someone who may have published a book in the past and they are, they don't know if they want to republish. They don't know if they want to try again. They're like, I don't know if this is for me. But for you, you have this beautiful fire within you. What would you say to them if they were on the fence about wanting to republish or relaunch or creating their journey into an ecosystem that can help more people?
All right. And thank you, Rennie. I mean, you make it very easy. You bring your all into VA. So for you, it's not just about being in the academy. I could literally feel, your presence in there, even just watching your courses. I think there was one of the models I watched, and I mean that really touched me. And I had to message you to say, "Oh my God, thank you so much for agreeing
Yeah.
to do this." Right. So yes, I'm showing up and all of that, but if you were not giving the way you were giving, I wouldn't have received it the way I'm currently receiving it. So thank you to as well. So for anyone who is on the fence or who has written a book and doesn't know what to sell it or doesn't know what to do, I would say, please give it another shot, right?
Mhm.
There's so much, message in every one of us, and you have your courses and your messages have told me that much
Mm.
for the fact that we all have something in us that we can share to the world. And it's not really about selling, right? It's if you come from a mindset of transformation, if you come from a mindset of helping
Mhm.
someone, from the mindset of, I mean, look at the Mother Teresa story, for instance, which you always project. If she didn't keep, if she kept her message to herself, would she have been able to help the millions of people that she helped in the world? So you're not really, it's not so much about the sales. It's about the fact that we all have a legacy to pursue, right? Whilst we are here, we cannot, we cannot afford to sleep on what we have, at the time that we have, in the moment that we have now. So, and what better way to sell your book than with Renee or with, VA? And this is not, it's not a marketing pitch. This is really what I'm living currently. I mean, I'm just in module 2, and there are about 5 modules in VAA, and there is so much that I've taken away so far. So I'm having to write my book, and I'm doing it with juggling every other thing. So it is actually very doable. You can do it, and you should do it, because you have so much in you to tell the whole world. We all have something in us. I'm a proponent of living with purpose. And that's why I was so restless for a very long time, because I just knew that I was meant for more, but I couldn't quite place it, right? So if you have that book out there, even if you've published it before, it flops or it failed, trust me, when you come into VAA, you're going to,
Yeah.
sell that smoking hot book here.
Good. Okay. Wow, Stella, you're making me blush. Yeah. Yeah, I just love that we're here kind of like giving each other our all. We're all here to like encourage each other because yeah, like a book is not necessarily the easiest thing that you'll do in your life. It's but it's like when we like go through life, sometimes we look back and think like some of the things that we chose to do that were because we loved it because it was hard, because it was something that put us through the fire and we came out the other end totally transformed. So I'm really happy that you are getting a really great experience in Viral Author Academy. And, um, I think I'm actually I love that you had a great experience with the workshops because I actually didn't realize how impactful those workshops were for you. Because you were like, I'm ready to sign up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do it. So like there's a lot of people I think that are like, yeah, I could maybe now publish my book someday and maybe I'll relaunch it someday. And you were like, no, I'm ready to go. So what would you what would you say to people who are like, someday, one day maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do it, but you are like, let's go. So what would you say to someone who is a someday person, possibly?
Just start already. just start, just start already because I mean there would always be. I mean, this is you saying I'm always consistent. I'm always look. I have so many days that life gets in the way so much of the time, right?
Yeah.
Things would always happen, especially when you're juggling multiple things. So
Right.
you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's always just start now, just start already. Sometimes
Mhm.
I even look back. I think I've also mentioned this to you. I look back and I tell myself, why did I waste all these years? Why didn't I know that I should have done this before now? Maybe by now I should have even written two, three, four books. Who knows? But then again, is I can't keep beating myself over things that have happened in the past. But then I have that consciousness that I just have to like every single day is an opportunity for you to make an impact. Why do you want to waste any more time? And you
Yeah.
can do this at your own pace. There is nobody is going to put a gun on your shoulder. But you take your time and just
Yeah.
just go ahead and get it done, right? Stick to a
Yeah.
schedule that works for you, but just start something. Every day, put something down. 10
Mm.
lines, 1,000 words, whatever it is that works for you at your own pace. Do it at your own pace. There are people in the academy who have even finished their book. I'm
Mm.
just in module 2 of the course,
Right.
right? But I'm going at it and I'm going at my own pace. There are people who are going to join the academy sometime this month or next month, and
Right.
probably some of them would even get past me. That's fine. Life is, we all have our own unique, but you just need to start. You just need to get going, really.
Right.
Every single day is time. You don't, when that time happens, when you get past that time, you don't get it back. So just move. Just start
Wow.
already. Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. I'm getting like fired up from you, Stella. I'm fired up. You're just like, wow. You're like preaching to like the church. I'm like, whoa, the Holy Spirit is crossing over me right now. I love it. I love it. Amazing. Stella, thank you so much, for your energy and for your honesty. Um, and yeah, I think like this, so I asked Stella to come on to Substack Live today to, give her honest view of what her experience has been like inside Viral Author Academy. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to ask you some questions and you can say whatever you need to say, whatever you want to say. And she took me to church and apparently all of us to church too, as well. So holy crap. Stella, thank you so much for for your energy. And I think that for anyone watching who might be on the fence about joining Viral Author Academy, feel free to ask Stella, feel free to ask, and we'll probably have some more interviews with some other students today or later, like Bill and Maya and stuff. And you can also ask them your questions as well. But Stella, thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get to your event so you can show off your beautiful hair and your outfit, your necklace. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your energy. Let's
Thank
see,
you for
who's joining
having me.
today? Yes.
Thank you
Oh,
for
we
having me.
got, yeah. We got Margaret, Bill, we got Brian, Anne, Evelyn, Patrice. Awesome. So thank you so much, Stella. And Bill, I'll probably have you on as well. And can't wait for that. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.